A P3 basically enables the private sector to come together with the public sector and solve the problem that the public sector perhaps couldn't do on its own. Housing is probably the most underfunded, most needed infrastructure in the country right now. As these urban cores are growing, there's a lack of affordable workforce housing for the people that are needed to make these economies go. And the more congested things become and the more expensive real estate is outpacing income levels, government has just got to get involved in this solution. Well, there are several categories of housing. You've got affordable housing, which is intended to subsidize housing for people that are below the average income for what is needed in a metropolitan area. But it's more complex than that. We need housing for seniors. We need housing for workforce that is needed to support a given thing that's happening in a city, whether it's medical, teaching, those kind of things. This housing is simply not affordable for nurses, teachers, these first responders, these people that we need to make our economies work. And we have to find a solution to this problem, or they're going to find other jobs and we're not going to function as a society. Well, I mean, P3s are creating quantitative and qualitative better outcomes than the private sector could do on its own or the public sector could do on its own. It's bringing the best of both worlds. For example, in the housing space, government is land rich and cash poor. Well, that happens to be one of the most expensive things about an urban housing project is the land that's needed to develop the housing. So government can come together with the private sector and create better outcomes by combining the resources of the two. When you think about transit-oriented developments, for example, every transit-oriented development needs to have an affordable component and a workforce component. Otherwise, it's just exacerbating the problem as you densify these cities and you don't have the people that are living in these transit developments. But at the end of the day, these are government projects because they're driven by transit. And so government can control these developers and the expectations that are set around these massive infrastructure projects to put housing as part of every solution that they're providing. P3 is never privatization. P3 is it's a way for the public sector to transfer risk, but also put these qualitative outcomes that are important as part of an infrastructure project that is public and public subsidy. But government always controls what happens. Government always controls the outcomes and the ownership because they're providing the subsidy. And it's at the end of the day, the taxpayers are the master on all public-private partnerships.
This is Lisa Bouillon, Executive Director of AIAI. Reach out to us today to learn more about our complimentary P3 Direct program to find out ways in which we can support your efforts through education and information.